people, ever downward. Work our way down the towers trying to find these old Corypheus. Griffy tits. I'm keeping my eye out now for these Mark of the Binding things. These big shields that apparently our fathers used them to bind the demons that were in turn bound by whatever blood magic he was forced to perform to create these seals. You know, there's a point to be made that anytime blood magic is involved,
rage smothered, desire dampened, pride crushed. In the name of the Maker, so let it be.
yeah, that's supposed to be our father's voice right there, and it's him binding the demons that were in turn bound by this blood magic, right? Basically, he's not going to be blamed for releasing demons into the world, so if they're going to force him to do this, he's at least going to create a safeguard to keep these demons bound here. And that gives a lot to, you know, Malcolm Hawke's character. Not only his apparent faith in the Maker and what have you, but his responsibility as a mage, where if you're going to force him into this evil act, then he was, I guess, at least limit the damage. We kicked so much ass there, the sound couldn't even keep up. You see that? Okay, we got an arcane horde type enemy over here somewhere. He's going to start doing the whole AoE nonsense here in a second if we're not careful. And of course he's surrounded by 50 corpses. Kind of hard to target him. Yeah, I was trying to assassinate him and... oh, crap. I'm going to get rid of your bodyguards eventually, punk. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I don't think I can take a full shot of that to the face. Yeah, definitely can't take that to the face. Bastard warping. Yeah, enough of that. Enough of that, dude. Yeah, you can just chill. Bastard. Anyway, anytime blood magic is involved, you know, it's not going to end well. And I mean, that lesson, it's just... It's beyond stubborn that men haven't learned from that. It's like they seek it out. In fact, if it's the wrong answer, it's like they just lust after it on purpose. It just doesn't make sense. And I guess a lot of human behavior really doesn't make sense, and perhaps that's the lesson here, you know? But, you know, tell you what, if we have to get rid of these seals to get to Griffy Tits, then we're going to go ahead and get rid of these demons while we're at it. And undo the work that Father was essentially forced to put into motion here.
Father was here. I can almost see it in my mind.
So this is a cross between a Warden Fortress and the Deep Roads. Kind of like a hybrid structure here. I don't know. There's some more mysterious history involved in just the existence of certain places. Not only, you know, where they exist, but how they exist. Like, you know, the actual structure itself says a lot. It's a good save spot right here, I think. In case this guy gets frisky here. Okay, so that abomination would be the spirit of the person he had to basically sacrifice for his magic ritual, I guess? But the sound is really funky here. Oh, that's the way it is in-game, too. This isn't the recording, this is the actual game itself.
I may have left the circle, but I took a vow. My magic will serve that which is best in me, not that which is most base.
That's what Father used to teach me. That which is best in me, not that which is most base. Even in the gallows I find strength in that. I miss him so. He'll live on in what he taught us.
And in these bizarre magical contraptions.
You know, in part, it's, you know, a person's character, right? Their morals and stuff. Uh-oh, what do we got going on here? Oh, this probably isn't going to be good. It's like a arcane reaver or something. Interesting. Oh, he's got a bunch of armor too. Holy crap. Yeah, he probably hits really, really hard too. Yeah, I don't want too much of that. Well, at least you can somewhat dodge his attacks. He probably one-shots you with that. Imagine, especially on Nightmare. But, notice Bethany, with her character and her morals, you know, play a big part of it. But, you know, good instruction and good teaching. You know, if somebody's just bound to be evil, then there's no instruction in the world that's going to turn them from that. You know, if you're just dead set on being rotten, well, and that's just what you're going to do, you know. But, and I'm sure that's the case with mages as well as Templars as well as just anybody, you know. Criminals. And then when you empower that criminal with something where he can, you know, do more evil on a larger scale, much faster, like with, you know, powerful magic or whatever, then, you know, or the authority, quote unquote, of the Chantry and the Templars, then they will, you know, and that's just people. That's not the organizations themselves. It's like the police. You get a few bad cops can give all the cops a bad name. Doesn't make all cops bad. It's just those few bad people who just happen to wear a uniform. You know, that's not the police. That's those individuals. You know, just the same kind of example here. You have bad mages. It just seems like you have a lot of them. And I guess, you know, power corrupts. You know, when it's not mixed with good morals and solid character and good education, good upbringing, discipline. It's got to be some moral discipline there. And apparently Malcolm Hawk raised Bethany with a lot of that. You know, I think she's a good person anyway. But, you know, she's an example of just a mage, a person who is a mage. And she takes her, you know, responsibilities seriously. And she's obligated to control and harness this power that she has. And she learned well. You know, Morgan's another good example of that. Even Fenrir, who maybe his mother didn't really know what to do, but she did the best she could, you know, and poured out her heart for her son, as we witnessed earlier in Dragon Age 2. And, you know, he goes off to find the right kind of instruction, because he understands. You know, he's obligated to do that, or else he's a danger to himself and others. Mainly others first, and then himself second, you know, but he gets that. This gives us a little background into Corypheus. Okay, here's where the confusion is. All right, they look at Corypheus as a darkspawn, right, and they think, you know, darkspawn are a result of the blight. I think here's my little theory is that Corypheus is a source of the blight, or is a conduit through which the blight itself flows. Because I can think of various dialogue and stuff that I've heard, probably some from Inquisition, some here, Dragon Age 2, where he speaks through the blight. Okay, notice to control these Dwarven fanatics on our way in, one of them says, you know, he makes us drink the blood so that we can hear the music. In other words, he speaks through that. And if you remember from Origins, the Archdemon speaks through the blight the same way, is that the wardens, once they drink of the you know, the corrupted blood mixed with the little dragon's blood, so they don't die, at least not immediately, right? Once they drink of that, they can hear the darkspawn, and the darkspawn can hear them, and it's you know, then it becomes some kind of, I don't know, weird spiritual thing or whatever. But anyway, this is how Corypheus speaks. And even though he's quote unquote slumbering, I think his presence, you know, if he's asleep and he's unaware, which we're gonna see some evidence of that.
Hunger stilled, rage smothered, desire dampened, pride crushed. In the name of the Maker, so let it be.
That must be the chant that's used to bind these demons. Like I say, these demons, I think, are the result of the blood magic he had to perform to create these barriers, to turn this into a prison, essentially, right? But anyway, if he's been slumbering and Corypheus hasn't really been conscious, aware to really manipulate or direct things, then he's something of a conduit. And so there is a force behind Corypheus. The Corypheus is just as much a tool to this power, that whatever this power is, as the Darkspawn are to him. Right? So, I mean, we keep working our way up. And I guess one day we'll finally get to the root of all this. The source of corruption, you know, the entity or the principle or the power or whatever that was created when man sinned. You know, the first sin where corruption entered the world or whatever, you know. I don't want to start getting off in the Chantry dogma, because I think the Chantry are as clueless as to most of the truth as anyone else is, honestly. I think they're just as ignorant of it. They just go on traditions that have been passed down through generations, and whatever truth there may have been at one point, I think has been completely lost. And I think that's the case with all history. Elven history as well. Even with Solus, as aware as he may be of Elven past, I think he's ignorant of quite a few things, and he's supposed to be an Elven quote-unquote god, you know?
Leandra. We can go home now. Us and the baby. We'll be together. I hope it takes after you, love. I would wish this magic on no one. May they never learn what I've done here.
He was talking about you. Mother must have been pregnant with you when they left Kirkwall. If he didn't want his child to be a mage, it never showed in my training. They say as much in the Circle.
He didn't want us to face similar risk because of him. Magic by itself isn't the danger.
But he was hiding all of this, and he had the skill to defend it. My instructors keep remarking on how well I was trained. I had no comparison when we were growing up, but now... Sometimes I wonder why he gave up so much to try and make our lives normal. I feel guilty for all that you and Carver put up with. It makes me wish I'd gone to the Circle sooner, to free you.
No point in pitying yourself. That's not going to get us anywhere.
Protected? Having you around would be worth some risk.
I do miss this. Maybe not the craziness of it, but feeling like a family. You may not have been a mage, but you're a lot like Father, you know. Don't lose that. Not over this. Or anything to come. We've lost too much.
I really, really like Bethany. Yeah. Taking her out of the game here was a hard pill to swallow. It really was. I mean, I would give up Anders' possessed-ass blood magic type healing, weird, morphed, perverted abilities any day to have Bethany in his place. Would have made just traveling around so much better. The biggest part of an adventure is the company you keep, right? Alright, so I don't know how many more of those seals we have left. I think that was probably it. Then we got that final kind of vision or whatever stagnant memory there that we got to see and hear. Basically telling us, you know, that's Father saying, hey, I bought our freedom, so he was being held ransom, in a sense. Anyway, we'll find more about that later. But, you know, here we got another one of those bulldozer assholes. These guys. Darkspawn bulldozer tanks. I think Varric says that looks like a seriously heavy shield right there.
Here we go.
Okay, now here's something else, okay? We're gonna find some of these. These are, sacrificial items for an altar of Dumat. Alright, Dumat, whatever. Why are they here? Okay, if this is a warden stronghold, okay, is it a dwarven thing? And why would they be worshipping anything other than the stone, you know, or whatever? Religion isn't common amongst the dwarfs, and their fanaticism here is a result of them drinking the darkspawn blood, being influenced by Corypheus, or some force working through Corypheus, whatever. I mean, Corypheus has passed along his will to them. Whether it's Corypheus' will, or Corypheus is just claiming a will that's not actually even his own, but in his pride, he would never admit to being controlled by anyone else, right? I mean, we know that. But, I don't know. Anyway, just throwing that out there. Like I say, whether Corypheus is his own mind or is just a tool like everything else for some higher evil power or something, whatever the case may be, he's convinced the dwarves to do what they do, and then afterwards they become, well, essentially mindless fanatics. Okay, but if there's an altar of Dumat here, is it the dwarfs or is it the wardens partaking in this, or what, you know? Or is this something predating even the wardens and the dwarves? Is this going all the way back to the very, very beginning? And then, you know, if this is a place being used to house Corypheus, then what is this stuff doing here? I mean, you know, this wouldn't be like Corypheus' home, or the worshippers of Corypheus, or when Corypheus himself was worshipping Dumat. Like, I don't know, it's not so much what is the altar of Dumat, it's why is it here in the first place? That's what I question. These things aren't put here by accident. These things are put here intentionally, and they will a lot of times signify a particular thing and point towards lore, you know? See if we can get Mr. Bulldozer out of the way first. I don't know which is the bigger threat, him or the ogre, but doesn't seem to be much limit to their the distance they can do that nonsense right there. Wow. What an asshole. And then we got this guy bulldozing too. I can take care of an ogre though. Yeah, we'll knock him on his ass. That's what I'm talking about. Looks like we have a seal room here. These are going to start getting progressively harder. If it seems like I'm doing some backtracking, I am. I'm looking for all this type of stuff, whether it's just a friggin' torn pair of trousers or a codex, I don't care. I wanted to find everything while I was down here. At least the best that I could. Like I said, this is kind of blind. I did come through here on Xbox. That was a long time ago. And I really remember little of it. I'm recognizing some of it as I go, but I don't think I was paying close enough attention first time I was through here. Now having a little more to go on, I have some lore to refer to and stuff. Things are a bit more interesting here and actually have more relevance. Like now, some things that I'm seeing have some significance where before, not really. Okay, now he's producing clones of himself. I guess decoys? Well, these decoys are pretty obvious. They have almost no health. I wonder if we leave one of them alive, if we can keep him from teleporting. Or if he's just going to take so much damage and teleport anyway. Probably. I don't know. And again, I don't think I need extra damage dealers around. Ouch. Bethany's getting owned over there. Yeah. Big time. Yeah. Leave my sister alone, man. There she goes. Good girl. I can charge too? Damn. How many moves does this guy have? Enough of that. Okay, I'm loving this. Alright. movement. Well, attack speed for sure. Faster attacks, more DPS. That's just simple as that. I wonder how many of these seals there actually are. So here we go, ever deeper down. Probably gonna be some more guards on this bridge too, huh?
He is waking. The magic grows lax. He feels us walk where no step goes.
Are you talking about Corypheus?
He calls like an old god. He mimics their cry. He calls them to free him. The dark children and the light. Any with taint in their blood.
If Corypheus isn't an old god, what is he? Human? Demon? Darkspawn?
More than darkspawn. More than human. He thinks. He talks. He pierces the veil. He wants what was once his.
How could this Corypheus be sending people after me if he's asleep?
He can call, dream, but not know. When the seals are gone, he will wake. And he must die.
Why are you down here? How have you survived?
The calling, the music. It is our death. I lived, but I died. The corruption feeds me. So many years in darkness.
When you run off, where do you go?
I know the darkness before the seals. Here, the voice is too strong. I cannot stay.
Alright, so anyone with taint hears Corypheus music, for lack of a better word, whatever, his voice, alright? And so, if he pierces the veil, that might explain his ability to influence demons before they even pass through the Fade, such as an Inquisition, when they, you know, come out through the Fade rifts, right, in the breach itself. The demons that come through, they're already essentially doing Corypheus bidding, right? So we get down here now. This looks very familiar. Not just the Deep Stalkers, which just ran by right there, but just in general. If you remember the Kadash Teig, it was essentially flooded. Where you go is shale in Origins. Strongly resembled this right here. But this isn't exactly a Teig. I mean, it looks like it is, but it isn't. It's not exactly Dwarven. I mean, you don't see any Dwarven structures per se. But it's definitely a Deep Roads type thing, but it's under this Warden Fortress. And I'm wondering where the link is, but without the, you know, Paragon statues and typical Dwarven design around here, this would predate the Teigs as we know them. I guess the point I'm making is that I think there's prehistory here. And I think this is where the answers lie. You know, stuff like this. So I guess the Deep Stalkers now have snipers. Little bastards. Ankle biters. Literally, ankle biters. Okay, make sure there's nobody behind my mages over here. Yeah, that's the little sneaky sneaks right here. Alright, so is it possible... because like when you look in Orzammar, we see like the Revenants, right? And I think the glass phylacteries, when you mess with them and the Revenants get up to guard the phylactery, right? I think this may be old Tevinter Magisters, right? Who have left their phylacteries behind to possibly be resummoned or rebound to a new body or something later. It's on some, you know, future calling, future time, similar to the ancient elven arcane warrior that you find in the ruin in the middle of the Brazilian forest, who's not guarded by a revenant. Right? That would be essentially the opposite of the old and I say Tevinter Magister, but I'm talking pre-Tevinter here. So don't get me wrong. I'm thinking back before that. Interesting. You got some legionnaires, Legion of the Dead sent down. Oh, there's a story with this down here. It's some of Eric's backstory, by the way.
Why does that sound familiar? I think Garen was sometime in the early Exalted Age. Hundreds of years ago.
Do you think they found him?
Who knows?
Okay, we'll learn more about that in a minute. But there's some connection between the old magisters or the old mages or the old whatever you might want to call them back then and the dwarves. It seems like there's some link.
That's where I know the name. Tethras Garen should have been the heir to the Garen clan. But he was accused of killing his sister and sent into the deep roads to die. When the real murderer was caught, they tried to find him. They never could. Instead, every Garen heir from that time on took the name Tethras in his honor. One of them became a paragon in his own right and founded my clan.
So this is kind of your ancestor they're looking for?
Not directly, but a little closer than I like to come to my past, you know.
Interesting. The Tethras clan descended from a paragon there. Okay, I had some troubles here. It was this guy. Couldn't get him down fast enough. We'll see how that affects us here in a second. Yeah, friggin' bulldozer. Not cool. And then you got the snipers. Then you got that Reaver, whatever the hell he is over there. The bulldozer's just doing work. More snipers. Wow. Okay. Well. I guess it's on. Wow. All right. Took down Bethany too. Yeah, he's one-shotting the squishies, me included. If I don't stay out of his way. Yeah. Aveline can take it, but wish she could have drawn his hate earlier. Didn't really matter, though, that bulldozer was doing work. This dude's a beast, man. It looks like he has something similar to a pommel strike and then mighty blow, basically. Sort of. Earth-shattering strike, kinda. I don't know. Time for him to go, man. There's another even worse ambush later that, oh, it's just nasty. You know, that bulldozer's kind of unfair because he's like a damage-dealing super AoE tank. That stupid Reaver thing, whatever that is, that's same kind of thing. Not cool.
What is that smell? I think I'm gonna pass out.
this architecture here strongly resembles what's above, too, in Kirkwall. You can see where they got their inspiration from. You know, even Varric will say, oh, the Iron Spike District. My favorite part of town. We see that down here, too. No coincidence, I don't think. Certain suggestion of cruelty. There's a Dwarven burial down here, too. Now, this may just be because of the Legion of the Dead guys down here, but I doubt they had time to carve a tomb. Well, I don't know, maybe they did. Okay, and this just became just push buttons till you win type thing here. I don't know, maybe the fewer number of choices you use to get this, maybe get you a better reward or something. That was possible. I think I wound up lighting like 50 of these torches here, trying to figure this out. Okay, you see, hit one once and it turns some on, then hit the same one again and it turns other ones off, and yeah, I'm sure there's a much quicker pattern. Yeah, I don't know. Probably a way to do that in just 2 or 3 button presses, I'm sure. I guess that's it. Okay, well, whatever. Well, that'll work. A lot of gold. Well, I don't know if there's a better reward than that, but I'll certainly take that. Sounds good to me. Okay, so like I say, this is a Tig, but it's not. And this certainly goes well back beyond the Dwarven fanatics we saw up above with their Carta hideout and whatever. Now they do talk up above about having been banished or exiled to the surface, perhaps by the dwarves that were down here.
Blessed are you, Dumat, silent and strong, secret and wise. Accept these offerings and share your strength.
Now it looks like I'm still missing something. Thought I pretty much grabbed everything down here, but we found some daggers, a crown, a scroll. I don't know what else we need. I don't know if those items are relevant or not, but okay, so why is the Temple of Dumat down here in a Tig? Apparently part of the structure. I mean, that's dwarves worshipping Dumat? Early dwarves prior to the Tig dwarves and the Deep Roads dwarves, you know? With the early Tevinters prior to actual Tevinter, worshipping Dumat along with magisters like Corypheus or something. I don't know. This is definitely by no means your typical Tig. Did the early Tevinters, pre-Tevinter magisters, live underground? Also? And that's where the dwarves got their tradition from, or something? And is Dumat the actual entity or whatever of Dumat? Or what they call Dumat, is it actually a presence in the stone? Or is it actually the stone, or some part of the stone, or a certain kind of stone, or something? If you see what I'm getting at. Like, you know, if the dwarves have their religious tradition stemming down, you know, from worshipping the stone, does that come from some basis of, you know, is there some foundation upon which that is built? Like early worshipping of Dumat, who actually is the stone? Or something, you know. Or the part of the stone where the bad spirits go. I mean, you know, I don't know. I just wondering. So like I say, I think we're looking way back in the history right here in this little area that we're in right here. This goes prior to any paragons and all that kind of stuff. This is before all that. Just like the Tig, where we found the red lyrium idol, which I believe was probably left there by Corypheus, or one that was like Corypheus himself. So yeah, that's another link between the dwarves and pre-Tevinter. That if that red lyrium idol that caused a lot of this nonsense here with, like, you know, later on, actually what we're seeing now, going on now in Kirkwall, and later on in Kirkwall especially, is that red lyrium idol, is there a link there with Corypheus or some other of the mega magisters like Corypheus from that point, which, you know, like I say, aren't a result of the blight, but are essentially the cause of, or a cause of the blight, or a source of the blight, or a conduit through which the blight flows. You know, like a wellspring, kind of. Is that a link there? The ancient Tig, where we found the red lyrium idol, that's Dwarven construction, but well before the paragons. Just like Varric's brother would say before he completely lost his mind, he'd say, you know, there's no paragons, there's no Dwarven stuff here, but this is the Tig. What's going on?
They were just trying to help someone, and they've been trapped here for centuries.
Interesting to find out that Corypheus and the rest of those pre-Tevinter magisters were actually elves themselves. Or elves before they were elves as we know them today. You know, kind of the other version of that would be someone like Solus, who also has the ability to pass a soul on from one body to the next, kind of like Flemeth. Corypheus has a corrupted version of that, right?
Here goes.
Just had to see out of curiosity. I'm sure if you defile the idol, then a demon pops up right here and you probably fight him and get a different item or something. I don't know. On another playthrough, I might do that instead. Got gold and a pendant. Alright, well, whatever. So this is really cool here. This really gives some food for thought. And I'm just throwing out the ideas as they come across my mind, and let you guys chew on that and see what you think. Use that old comment section down below. Let me know what ideas you might have on all this stuff here that I'm seeing.
I don't think that's good. Atras Tunsha. Totania Amegtol Tavash Iduk.
That was sweet, Hawk. Now let's get out of here before you see me cry.
Huh. Was that sincere? Wow. Don't normally see that from Varric. Apparently we did all the little side quests, although, I don't know that I found everything, but, I've been trying to find all the stuff. Of course there'd be an ambush right here. Oh, one of these guys. These guys are... It's getting kind of old. Far too many of these dudes down here, I'm telling you. I need to learn to stay behind these guys, too. Or just take them out a whole lot faster, one way or the other. And there's another ambush coming up here in a second, but I think we've come to an end of this one. We'll get into that, and then we'll head on to meet old Corypheus himself, right? How does that sound? But for now, thanks for watching. Like I say, take some of that and run with it, and let me know what you think. Run it by the lore that you got floating around in your head, and make some comparisons, and share the goods. All right, y'all take care. If you want to subscribe, click that button up top. For the rest of this Let's Play up to this point, click the image in the middle, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.